Welcome to Strange Files. It's story time. I'm your host, Troy. All right, gather around. I've got another chilling tale to tell you. Another one this time that'll make your hair stand on end. It's about a young guy named Liam Gray. And let me tell you, this one's a doozy. So picture this. It's a hot summer day in Mansfield, England. So if you've never been to England, just picture a hot summer day. August 1st, 2019 to be exact. Liam Gray, just 18 years old. He's out with his buddies. He's living it up. He's doing what young men and women do. He's trying to find himself in life and doing what these young people do on the scene, partying and just having a blast, not caring about anything in the world. He's got the world by the tail, you know? And he just became a dad to a beautiful little baby girl. And she was named Isla. Not even 2 weeks old. Life's looking pretty sweet for our boy Liam. Now, Liam's hanging out with his pals, including this guy named Jonathan Treadgold. They are as thick as thieves. They're buds. They're bros. They are tight. You know, one of those friends that you have where you do everything with. You tell your deepest secrets to. These guys are like this. They hit up a local store, grab some booze, and start knocking them back at Liam's granddad's garden. Just your average day for a bunch of teens, right? Well, I wish it was just that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you the story, right? So here's where things take a turn for the worse. The guys decide to head to the local pub because why not? Because that's what people do when they start hitting the booze and their judgment's a little gone. And now we want to go to a place where we can continue to knock them back. They're young. They're having fun. But somewhere along the line, something goes south. And I mean really south. And I mean strangely south. Sinisterly south. We don't know exactly what happened, but the next thing you know, Liam and Jonathan are having themselves a little tiff. Now, most of the time, you and I both know when best friends or buds argue, they might throw a few punches, right? I've had a few of those tiffs myself growing up, mainly in my younger years, somewhat when I was a little older, but it's normal, especially with your best bro. You call each other names, but that's about it. And then you shake hands and it's over. Or even you let it go for a couple days. Eventually you get over it. You come back together and you're buds again. Not this time, folks. No, not this time. You see, Jonathan heads back to Liam's granddad's place and Liam follows him, probably thinking they'd hash it out like men, but he was wrong. Here's where things get really crazy. Here's where the file gets stranger, hence Strange Files. Not even a minute later, I kid you not, less than 60 seconds, Jonathan comes tearing out of the house. And get this, he looks at Liam's other friend, Reese, and says, "I killed him." Now, I don't know about you, but I'm hanging out with my buds. We've been drinking. One of my buds runs out of the house and says, "They killed our other bud." At first, I'm going to think he's BS and he's pulling my leg, right? But Reese had a premonition. He just had a gut feeling and it was making him sick. He knew something was up. He knew, he felt it. Something was wrong. He rushes into the house and what he sees, well, it's enough to make your stomach turn. There's Liam holding a tea towel to his chest. Blood is everywhere. And on the floor next to Liam is a big old kitchen knife. And Liam's granddad is there too, trying his darndest to stop the bleeding. So Reese is in shock. There's a kid, but he manages to call for help. The paramedics show up and they are working like crazy to save Liam. They even manually had to pump his heart at one time. Talk about intense, man. Meanwhile, the cops, they're out looking for Jonathan. And get this, some sandwich shop owner calls in, says there's a kid in his backyard talking about being in a violent, crazy situation. Turns out it's our boy Jonathan. Now, let's bring it up a few notches. Here's where it gets even nuttier, crazier, and darker. When they catch Jonathan, he says that Liam attacked him first. But eventually the evidence would tell another story, that it wasn't self-defense. It was something a lot more sinister. You see, when they did the autopsy of poor Liam, there was just one stab wound. Just one. And it was deep. If it had been self-defense, you would probably expect to see a lot more flesh wounds, more of someone fighting in defense of somebody trying to attack them, more cut marks, a bunch of defense wounds, right? Maybe even some slashes, some deep, some not so deep, but no, you don't see any of that. This looked very deliberate. It was one deadly stab wound. And there was CCTV footage as well. And it painted a pretty clear picture. And when they looked at the CCTV, there was no evidence of Liam being aggressive towards Jonathan at all. It just looked like three friends having a good time, as a matter of fact. Now, you thought that was it and we could just wrap it up and call it a story, right? No, there's more to it. Are you ready for the rest? Here we go. Jonathan, he'd been having a rough go at it. Troubled background, to say the least. Some minor drug offenses. And Liam, he was the kind of guy that would take a friend under his wing. He would try to help everyone. He was a good kid. He was very neighborly and very, very friendly. He helped his friends whenever they were down and out. He was there for them. And some people say that Jonathan might have been a little bit envious of Liam. Envy over Liam's life. You might say that Jonathan coveted Liam slightly. Now, fast forward to the trial, and Jonathan's still sticking to the story that he told the cops. But the jury, they weren't buying what he was selling. They found him guilty as sin. In the end, Jonathan got slapped with a life sentence, a minimum of 16 years behind bars. But you know what? For Liam's family, for his little girl that would never see her dad ever, it'll never be enough. It just goes to show, folks, you never really know what's going on in someone's head. One minute you're sharing a drink with a buddy, and the next, well, let's just say it's a cruel world sometimes. Not all the time, but in this case, it was. So there you have it, the tragic tale of Liam Gray. It makes you think twice about who your real friends are, doesn't it? But don't look at life darkly, even though there are dark places in life and in the world. We do live in shadows at times, depending on where the sun is shining. Now, who needs another round of root beer? This storytelling's thirsty work. And that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next file.